We're sitting here now with Alex Altobelli. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
A Irish dancer,
Yes.
but you're not quite Irish looking.
Nope.
How did you start dancing Irishly?
My dad's in the military, and so when we lived in Germany, we were trying to find something for me to do, and one of the officers' wives taught Irish dancing. So I started there, but then I ended up moving to Japan, so can't really do
Not as
much
common.
Irish dancing there.
When you were in Japan, you didn't dance at all?
No, I didn't.
And then you moved back to Virginia, and now you go to Lake Braddock? You're a senior?
Yes, I'm a senior.
Okay, and how active is the Irish dancing community here? Because I have no clue.
It's pretty active. There's at least 4 or 5 schools in this area that are very active, and we compete
Wow.
all over the country, outside of the country, and each competition usually has about 1,000 dancers at it.
And when you dance, I know nothing about Irish dancing, and I don't think I look like I do, right?
No.
Is it you dancing by yourself, or do you dance with a team?
It depends. There's both. I focus mainly on solo dancing, but also this year is the first year I joined a Ceilidh team at my school, and that's just like a traditional team dance, and it's very strict. It's written in a book that is like everyone has to follow the same
All right.
same movements. Every school does that, and so it's the first time I've done that. But I usually do solo.
You said normally you do solo. Are there different types of dancing within the Irish dancing?
There's 2 different shoes that we wear. So one is the hard shoe, which is more iconic. That's when people think river dance, they think the tap dancey shoes. They make the sound. So that's the more impressive that everyone thinks of. But there's also soft shoes, which are similar to ballet slippers.
So you start learning at 4th grade. What type of stuff do you learn first? Because I'm sure it was completely foreign to you as when you were in 4th grade when you started.
Yeah, the first thing they do is they teach you like your skips and your jump, like the basic jumps and everything, and that's all in soft shoe. You don't start hard shoe usually for another year. So they make sure you have all the basic and make sure that you know the techniques, so point your toes, cross out, turn over.
What's the craziest trick you can do now?
Probably my jumps. I'm a jumper, so my soft shoe dances are filled with different types of jumps because I can get off the ground pretty high.
So what different types of dances do you compete in?
So I'm at the preliminary champion level, which sounds a lot better than it is. It's not
You didn't have to tell me that.
Good.
Sorry.
And so when you're competing at a champion level, you have different rounds in your dances, and so you have a soft shoe round, and you have a choice between 2 different dances that you can do. You can do a reel or you can do a slip jig.
Slip jig.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's like a really graceful dance. Reels are more athletic. They're filled with jumps and like high kicks.
And when you do those 2, does everyone do the same choreography?
No, that's it's kind of neat. If you go and watch a competition, there can be anywhere from 1 to 3 girls on the stage at the same time. None of them are from the same school.
Wow.
And everyone does their own choreography, and it's sort of kind of, my friends think it looks like a battle when you're dancing, because everyone does their own thing, and they all want to get the attention of the judges that are watching. So they want to be at the front of the stage, or they want to make sure they're the loudest, or they have the biggest jumps and everything.
How does does one judge judge one person? The judge judges all of them?
Yeah, so there's 3 judges at local competitions.
And they judge all of them at the same time?
Yeah, and the dances only last like 50 seconds per round.
Really?
And so a lot of it is stage presence to get the judges' attention.
Do you see the judges? Can you see them when you're on stage?
Yeah.
Do you ever do something awesome and then you're like, why weren't you looking at me?
Yeah, it's really sad.
Really?
And then, or it's the other way, you mess up and they're like watching and you're like,
It's like, oh, of course now
why
you're staring at me, right?
Where's the other girls?
Stare at this girl over here. Now, you perform or compete often, right? Pretty regularly?
Yeah, I usually compete at least twice a month,
Wow.
sometimes 3, but that gets to be expensive and tiring.
When you're not in school, is it more often or?
Yeah, in the summer there are a lot more competitions, and the winter times they tend to not have as many because we're focusing on learning new choreography for the rest of the year.
Do you get stage fright?
Not all the time, just I have one dance that I get freaked out before.
Is it a type of dance or one specific dance?
Yeah, it's my set dance, which means it's my solo. So that's when I've done my first 2 rounds, and if it's at a major competition, the top 50% are the only ones that get to do the set dance. and you're on stage by yourself in hard shoe. And
Whoa.
I get nervous because I'm the only one on stage and there's at least 3 judges watching me, and they can hear everything, so if you make a mistake, they know.
Okay.
So
and they're only looking at you the whole
yeah,
time.
so there's no other girl to distract you.
Do you get nervous before you go on and it goes away when you get on stage, or do you get really nervous when you walk on stage?
Usually it's before I go on.
Are you nervous right now?
Not really.
Were you nervous before we started?
Not really.
Okay, all right. So the Irish dancing has such a different culture than what we're
Mm-hmm.
used to, and I'm sure it was different than in Germany. It's very specific.
Yeah.
So how do you get yourself immersed in that type of culture? How did you become an expert on Irish dancing?
Well, I mean, I'm not really an expert. It's
Compared to
something,
me, you
it
are.
gets addicting. So once you start doing it, you go to class and you start learning stuff, and you see the other dancers that know more, and you just be like, oh, that's so cool. I want to learn it more, and you get more and more steps. Then you want to compete to show that you have the steps mastered, and then once you start competing, you're like, oh, I need to go to the next level, and then it just sort of like builds up, and everything gets addictive.
I know that a lot of athletes and artists, and I'd consider you both with this type of dancing, they try to better themselves constantly, and I know a lot of dancers are always looking at videos on the internet. The internet's very helpful. Do you watch a lot of other dancers
Yeah, I do.
online and stuff?
And some my friends from dance, what we sometimes do is we'll video a small bit of our practices, and we'll send them like, hey, what's wrong with this, or can you help me with this? And I also watch a lot of, they're called Parade of Champions. It's so at the big major competitions, all the winners, they go and they dance a step, and so those are the people that are winning worlds. So obviously they're doing something right. So I'll watch
A world championship.
Yeah.
Is that your goal?
I don't think I'll ever make it to the worlds. I
That's
started
not
too late.
You started too late at 10?
Yeah.
A lot of these girls start
3 or 4.
like when they're learning to walk.
Yeah.
Wow. So what is your goal with this type of Irish dancing?
I would like to make it to nationals and maybe recall it nationals. I probably just jinxed myself, but
What do you do to prepare yourself for something like the thing on May 1st?
well, I just practice. I try to practice every day, but with senior year and a lot of homework, sometimes that doesn't happen. But
You're a senior doing a lot of homework?
yeah.
Wow. We don't see that a lot. Okay. Well, is there when you're preparing for May 1st, right? You said, are you preparing something specifically, or are you just trying to better yourself as a dancer?
Well,
in general?
to win a prelim competition, you do 2 dances. So I'm working on my 2, my hard and my soft shoe, so my reel and my hornpipe.
Okay.
And so I just break it down into like 4 bars of music and just work on those. I just drill it to make sure everything's perfect.
When you learn a new dance, new choreography, do you know all the moves and it's just a different order, it's different way of putting it all together, or are you learning new moves too?
Sometimes like I know most of the things, and other times it's a different take on it. There's only so many combinations and movements, and a cool thing with Irish dance, unlike ballet, is that it's constantly evolving. There's always new movements are being like thought up of, or different choreography, and it's constantly changing. So my dances now, a lot of times my teacher, she'll watch other major competitions, and she'll watch and see different dancers and try to change movements to make them totally unique to us.
What is the process for learning like a brand new move?
Practice it like 1,000 times in front of the mirror, and then keep practicing it because you probably still don't have it.
Do you have a dance studio that you go to practice this specific type of dance?
Yeah, I go to Evenish on Rinka. It's an Irish dance school. It's out in Duluth. So this is a Plaza Performing Arts Center, and we're located in Duluth area. I only recently moved to the studio. The Irish dance studio is called Evenish on Rinka here. I switched in last February. I switched after I had an injury at my last studio. I'm here only 2 days a week right now. So in the fall, it's 3 days a week before regionals. I take 3 different types of classes here. I have my regular champ classes, which is where I work on my solo pieces, so my soft shoe, my hard shoe, and my non-traditional set. And then I also take Kaylee classes, which is traditional team dancing, so 4 hands, 8 hands. It's more like a traditional dance. It's done by the book. Everyone does the same thing, and it's I think it's a lot more fun at times just because it goes back to basics and you don't have to worry so much about all the tricks that are done in Champion.
Was that a trip for you?
An hour each way.
Wow. Each way? Okay. And do you drive yourself there?
My mom drives me so I can do homework.
Oh, that's perfect. A senior doing homework. I can't believe. Why are you doing homework your senior year? I'm sorry. Sorry. Why are you doing homework your senior year? Okay. Sorry. I'm over it. But stop doing your homework. You got accepted to Notre Dame, right?
Yes.
So technically, you can stop doing your homework, right?
No.
I always thought that's what it was, but that's why I didn't get into college. Do you intend on furthering your dancing into a college team or something?
I'm going to keep dancing in college. One of the cool things with Notre Dame is they do have a very active Irish dance club, so that will help me build a practice because it's not very fun to practice on your own. That's why I like being in class because you have people there that can help you and see something that you're doing wrong or see something you're doing right and motivate you because a lot of times you just beat yourself down and you're like, oh, you only see the bad things.
Do a lot of colleges have these type of teams nowadays?
More and more are because Irish dancing is growing in popularity. Every school I've applied to actually had one.
Was that really important to you when you were applying?
Yeah, because I don't want to stop. It's something that's, it's always going to be in my life.
Do you want to do, when you try to qualify for nationals, do you want to go with a team or by yourself?
Well, right now, there's not 8 girls that are committed to go to nationals. Not all of us could afford the trip, so it would be just me going for solos.
And when is that?
It's this summer in July. And
do you intend on going?
if I qualify, yeah.
And what do you have to do to qualify?
I need to win 1 more championships.
May 1st?
By May 1st, I have 3 more chances.
All right. So you have these 3 chances. You prepare for them. How far do you have to travel normally
to go to them?
Yeah.
So usually I have to go pretty far, but actually this weekend is in Manassas, which is nice.
Okay.
It's changed. I don't actually have to stay in a hotel or
it's a nice
anything.
change of pace.
But then I have one, it's in Wildwood, New Jersey. The other one's in Pennsylvania.
Okay. So those aren't...
They're not awful.
They're not close, though.
No, they're probably... I think Pennsylvania's a 3-hour drive. New Jersey maybe a 5.
And who do you go with on those?
My mom usually always takes me.
And is she into the Irish dancing too, or is she just kind of a support?
She tries to understand everything, and
That's what I'm trying to do.
She really helps me. When I'm practicing at home, she'll sit down there and she'll give me critiques because she had dance background herself, ballet, but there's still some of the same things.
It's all kind of similar in some ways, right?
Some ways. And so she really wants to understand it to help me because I beat myself down a lot. So she tries to help me, and she's always supporting me.
Do you really know when you messed up on stage, or do you have to?
Generally, because you're working the same dances for hours and hours on end, and so as soon as you make the mistake, usually you can tell, and it's just kind of frustrating because you can't go back and be like, hold on, no, I did it right in practice. Let me show you again.
I did it before. And at Notre Dame, you said you wanted to keep dancing. Is this something you want to make a career in any way?
I don't think it'll be a full-time career. I would like to maybe get my teaching license. It's called your TCRG.
Okay.
And so that just means you're certified to be an Irish dance teacher. I don't really want to make a career out of it, just maybe something to have and maybe later on work with a studio because I don't think I would want to own my own studio.
What do you want to do then?
I want to be an engineer.
That's very different.
Yeah.
You can Irish dance in your free time then, right? Perfect. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm very sorry we couldn't clear the studio so you could teach me a few dance moves, but
Maybe
it was great to have
next
you. High five. My name is Dylan Brockway. This is Alex
Altobelli.
Altobelli, and we'll see you next time.